No one can clearly foresee the city of the future.
You've got to tell us before we look at this video, what is an internet?
I can now access the internet too, right?
Everything here is immediately followed by sarcastic comments and nasty responses.
Here's a peep through a future window of the world.
Apparently in AD 2000 we should be having a hair-raising time.
This is a Fox News alert.
Today we'll show you the growing power of the internet.
Did you know it was dangerous?
All the talk about a doomsday is a big hoax. Don't worry about 2012 and enjoy 2013 when it comes.
In horrible weather, I sneeze and I just lose the puppets. I'm thinking Governor Romney won't do that, okay?
A warm welcome to SIME Stockholm and to my two favorite days of the year. During these 2 days, we'll explore digital opportunities, we'll meet leaders from all over the world on main stage and here in the greatest audience anywhere. New for this year is that we've packed in even more ways to learn, share experience and do business. We'll have special summits for commerce, for HR, for investors and entrepreneurs, for non-profit, and we'll also have over 20 workshops where you can sit down and dig deeper in the topics you like the most. In order for you to connect more with each other, we've also invited Blendology. That's the badge you're having around your neck. You just tap your badge against somebody else and you connect. It's like the ultimate dating site. You connect immediately, you know who the other person is, when and where you met them, and you can continue the relationship afterwards. We're also going to party at the SIME Gala dinner tomorrow night, and we're going to see spectacular speakers. In fact, the strongest and coolest speaker roster we've had at a SIME event ever. We're also going to play around a little bit with place and space. So you'll see interactions in many new dimensions. Let the magic begin.
Hey. Thank you very much. I'm Charlie. This is Eric. Are you ready, Eric?
Yeah, I think so.
We have a little presentation about innovation and creativity.
Let's do it. Maybe humans' first tool was a rock. Then started innovation.
It's all about ideas. But great ideas are only great when turned into reality.
The creative process starts with a topic or a problem to be solved.
Anything from sustainable energy
to finding a good birthday present for my mom.
The first step is to free your brain from the obvious approaches.
There are 4 guidelines to classic team brainstorming.
1, withhold criticism for later.
Welcome unusual ideas.
Combine and improve ideas.
And the real key, focus on quantity.
The goal is to end up with a large spectrum of possible and impossible ideas.
For a great brainstorming team, remember that if you mix 2 similar things, it doesn't add so much.
Variety creates creative conditions.
It's a real asset if team members have different backgrounds, ages, and cultures.
And haircuts.
Come on.
Then it's time to decide on a path. Let a few ideas from the brainstorm take off.
It's kind of a point of no return. From here, you have to stand by your path. Focus on it.
Believe in and love your idea.
This is also where hard work begins. 1% imagination, 99% perspiration. It's starting to get serious, Charlie.
Serious enough?
Innovation seems revolutionary, but it's surprisingly evolutionary, because creativity always stands on the shoulder of giants.
Yes, take the laptop computer, for instance. You can see its evolution through the desktop to punch card operated mainframes.
Sprung from early electronic computers, in turn based on mechanical ones, going back to the analytical engine.
Those built on Pascal's mechanical adding machine, which was kind of an automatic geared abacus. The abacus is 5,000 years old, and before that, I guess we computed by arranging rocks in piles.
What we're trying to say is that innovation works by evolution.
And innovators have taken us from putting rocks in piles to a man on the moon.
And it's worth it. It turns out strange ideas like making people communicate in 140 letters can be successful.
To throw out tin cans and make paper food containers can be successful.
And selling games for $1
can be strangely successful. It would be amazing if we could automate innovation. But that is still far away. Creativity is not about being right. It's about curiosity, playfulness, and discovering the wrong which turns out to be right, bringing you one fail closer to success.
It's a very human thing. And unfortunately, there is no golden key, no magic recipe. I mean, cutting edge is hard work.
Apart from the obvious work hours, you have to maintain the balance between bold, crazy faith and feet on the ground. But creative flow, it's an amazing feeling.
No problem is too big. You feel like you learn more in a day than you did last month. Maybe you are improving the world a little bit.
We did say there is no magical key. You're never guaranteed a hole-in-one.
But you can always try to be a great golfer. So we will leave you with 3 essential ingredients for creativity.
3, Eric.
Oh.
Playfulness and fun. Optimism and daring.
And the most important one, perspiration. There's no shortcut around hard work. These 3 things are important whether you are inventing the next wheel,
coming up with a great birthday present for your mom,
or creating the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Improving our world a little bit.
We would like to wish you all at SIME a wonderful evening.
And a future full of creativity and innovation.
Let the magic continue.
And a warm welcome to you to SIME Stockholm. Aren't these guys absolutely amazing? Give it up again. Come in here, fantastic. iPad Act.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are going to have 2 amazing days here at SIME Stockholm. And we are going to be a lot of people here, as I see, and more people are coming. There's never been so many people at a SIME event as we're going to have here during these days. And I will have a presentation coming up any second. There it is. We are going to have main stage discussions. We're going to be here between 9 and 12 every day. And then we're going to have workshops, which will be over 20 different workshops where you can decide exactly what you want to dive into for 45 minutes with experts from all over the world in topics that you like. We are also going to have workshop rooms come down from the roof. So behind me on stage, classroom will magically appear from the roof, and you will sit with headphones and enjoy the shows. We're going to have meet and greet in different dimensions, where blendology is one of them. You tap this little device against somebody else. It's kind of like the first kiss, and then you're friends for life. When you leave, you give this to the host and hostesses, and they will make sure that all of you connected, and you can look at your SIME event on a timeline and see exactly where you met whom and who they know and who they are. We're also going to do a lot of other fun things. We're going to have the Commerce Summit for the first time, about e-commerce, retail, and e-tail. We have a room for 230 people. 320 have said yes so far at Gröna Lund. We don't know how we're going to solve that. We'll try to figure that out. We have HR leaders and CEOs trying to find out what the talent wants in the future and how we can remain competitive by getting the best talent to work for our companies. We're having the Investor Summit, and we kickstarted it yesterday, where we have some of the best investors in the world checking out the coolest new startups and fast growers from the region. And we're having the Nonprofit Summit, where there's 200 nonprofit leaders exchanging experience with each other, but also with leaders from the corporate sector. On all the workshops that are nonprofit related, it says Nonprofit Summit, so that you can also go and check those out. So I said that we're going to be a lot of people here during these days, and for that reason we have to pay a little bit attention to time. So if any of you fantastic speakers drag over time, strange things might happen to you. So the first level of strange things is a very breathtakingly handsome hologram appears, and it can look something like this. Shh. I said shh. Well, the next level, if that sort of doesn't get through as a message, we step it up a notch.
This is Fitbit. It tells me the time, it tells me when to sleep, it tracks my heart rate, it tells me how many miles I've walked, and from today, new feature, it can tell him to shut up.
So we're going to download the future of business. And when we've been building this program, I spent almost 8 months this year on the road, traveling around, trying to find the stories that we want you to tell when you leave SIME. Stories about companies, stories about new tools, about new strategies, about new ways of doing things. I don't know if you've seen Jerry Maguire, but Jerry Maguire, he wakes up, Tom Cruise wakes up in the middle of the night, and he's like, we're not doing it in the best way, we're not honest, we're not for real anymore. And he rubs his face with ice, and he's like, no, we have to change. And then he writes a business plan, and he goes up to his boss and says, this is truth, this is what we should be doing, this is passion. The boss looks at it and says, you're fired. Jerry leaves, and it's based on a true story, and he starts one of the most successful companies in his industry. See where you can take you. I didn't invent that. Absolute did. I love Absolute. If you're interested in branding, Absolute is the company to study. See where you can take you. And they found people, super creative people, that are transforming their industries, and they empower them, and that's how they communicate their brand. See where you can take you. They also scrapped their business plan in Absolute. The new CEO, fantastic guy, hard hitter, really knows what he wants. He said, let's just screw the business plan. This is your new business plan. It's a bow tie, and he showed his bow tie. Because a lot of good things come in from one side into an event, and that can be having a sip of vodka, or it can be going to an event like this, or it could be seeing an ad, or having a sales meeting, or whatever else. And then you amplify that event, and in a digital world, it will be amplified forever. So it's leading up to whatever you're doing, it's the experience, and it's whatever happens afterwards in social networks, in different contexts, in content that is curated forever. And that's what we're going to do today. It's you, and that you're here. We're super happy about that. It's SIME, that is going to be spectacular. And then it's the stories that you're going to tell forever after. Chris Anderson says this is the era of the curators. And I really believe that it is true, because there's never been so many people that can try so many things as before. 6,000 days ago, there were 2 people thinking about the internet. Now we're going on 3 billion. The barriers are lowered to try new things. So let our story begin. Last year we spoke about hyper-innovation, kind of like when the music industry went from somebody being able to play only after 10 years of training or having a really good talent in singing. Now anybody can make music, and tens of millions of songs are being made every month that nobody cares about. The DJs become more and more powerful, but at least we can try. It becomes more democratic. I think the same thing will happen with innovation. We'll have innovation coming at us left and right, and it's not having an idea that will be the cool thing, it's really making something out of that idea. Tech is turning into rock and roll. It's no longer the domain of only geeks. It's a lifestyle for many people. It comes into fashion. It comes into a lot of different areas. So from smartphones to tablets to wearables, which is the new buzzword, wearables. You saw Mahesh here, he was wearing Fitbit. But wearables is going to come in many different dimensions, shapes and forms. They will come as health devices, as training devices, as memory devices, as life logging devices. Memoto, they're allowing you to photograph your whole life as it moves back, so you can go back in time and look at it, or take pieces you like and bundle them together. Wearables. Glass from Google. We're going to have the first Google Glass launch here, so you'll actually be able to try it, play around with it. There's also apps developers developing apps on top of Glass, and the winners will be allowed to keep working on it at Soup 46, together with MTGX. Not everybody believe we'll be wearing wearables, but I think that, laughs aside, this is going to be an integral part of what we're doing. Nobody's laughing at contact lenses, right? But that's adding technology to our bodies. And for many companies that rather would not have so much change, they want things to stay the same. I think that if you want it to stay as good as it is, you need to change rapidly. And that's something we're seeing in industries. Industries where people are not changing, they're being left behind. And just talking about change, that's so last year. Now, we've gathered workshops with leaders that have actually changed and transformed industries. The Intrapreneurs Workshop is fantastic examples of people that have transformed their industries. So transformation is in progress or already happening in every industry. That's one of the premises that we use here today. Big corporations, they're realizing they can't do this alone. So they want to partner. They want to play in your band. And even if they don't look and talk and walk like the entrepreneurs they want to be, they're becoming more and more powerful. And we're seeing that the new super entrepreneurs are not two guys directly out of school in a basement. It's large corporations starting using their assets as super entrepreneurs. And we'll meet leaders from some of the most powerful media companies sharing their view and how you can co-create with them if you're an entrepreneur, or co-create with them if you're another large company also interested in digital opportunities. I see this more not as a revolution or an evolution, as a lot of people debate. I see it's more a mutation. Industries and products are mutating, and the mutants become much more powerful than the other players in the market. Mutations come in different shapes and forms. And when something mutates, it's when you add a different layer or a different chromosome to your product or your industry, and it becomes something new. Not the same, a little bit better. It's not an evolution, it's something completely different. So if I show Nike Fuel Band, it's not an evolution of a jogging shoe. It's not a better jogging shoe. It's something completely different. It is something that evolves into a running system, something that makes you care a lot more, and you can't compare it to any other shoe. If I show Nest, it's not a better light switch. It's a complete commando central for your home. If I show you Omni, it's not a new news site. It's not a new newspaper. It's a completely different way of interacting with news. And you'll meet the team behind Omni tomorrow, and I think you'll agree with me. And if you listen to Sonos at home, it's not a cassette player with an attitude. It's a completely different mutation of how to enjoy music. So these are things that are all around us. What's the next step? How crazy can it get? Well, wearables. Now, 3D printing, we spoke about it last year, but this is taking it one step further. Swedish company, Volumental. So you have a scanner. So you scan anything and you print it. So you can turn anything you scan into 3D printable stuff. Could you imagine the amount of stuff we will have lying around at home when the kids get that? Drivables. Google cars are already on the streets of the US. The next thing is flyables. So the flyables will replace the security guard, at least when it's cold outside. It will play around with your dog in the lawn. It will do a lot of things. The flyables, new buzzword. And it's all mutation. It's not just adding now with lemon taste. It's something different. The leaders behind these projects and products think differently. They think bigger, they think more. Nespresso, if you just look at the margin developments of coffee, somebody was sipping coffee and saying, maybe we should just put it in paper mugs, put it in every corner, call it Starbucks, and then let's 5-double the price. So we make 5 times more per coffee bean. Some other guys were sipping a cup of coffee saying, why don't we make a machine, lock them up, make it into fashion, put it in their homes, make you feel like a geek if you don't give somebody a real Nespresso? How can we make a product sexier than George Clooney? And now it's 25 times what you pay for a coffee bean. So what I would like to do right now is for you to turn around to the person next to you, say hi, what you work with, and you spend 2 minutes from start to now in thinking, what could mutate in my industry? And you don't have to be the smartest idea, just shoot whatever is in your brain. What can mutate in your industry? Okay, thank you very much. And now I'll show you magical spell and an IQ test. And it works like this. When I say silence, everybody that passes the IQ test, silence, until there's only one guy talking, and he's over here. And now he stopped too. Thank you very much. That works every time. Learned it from a school teacher. But things are mutating. And I think that's very cool, to look at the world, how can things mutate? So if I work in a TV production company, I shouldn't be thinking, oh, maybe I make a cooking show and hopefully it will run for 2 seasons. I should reinvent cooking. Think of not inventing a little TV program, think of inventing football. Football is the best TV content, it's on TV all the time, it's the best event content, it's in events all the time, it's the best merchandising. Think a lot bigger, because it can be amplified through technology. And we're going to meet a very special guy later on today. He's called Didac Lee, and he's on the board of Barcelona FC. He's an internet entrepreneur, and Barcelona FC, they said, we probably need somebody that knows a little bit about the internet. Let's call this guy Didac. And he came in, and now they have 70 million people following them. And this is as much a digital project as 11 guys with a football. Ultimate Fighting Championships, whether you like it or not. It started with no TV station wanting to show it, no city legalizing it. But they shot 2 guys fighting in a cage, 55 million people saw the first show, then all the TV stations says, well, late night, it would be okay with our station as well. And now it's the world's fastest growing sport, and it's $1 billion industry. It's amplifying a big idea in a connected society, not just thinking a little bit better than you did yesterday. Leadership is mutating too, and in marketing, there's a lot of marketeers here in the audience. It has really mutated. We're going from a situation where we're always in flight mode and trying to figure out where things are, or even worse, flying blindly, to having a control tower where we're starting for the first time to understand the whole customer journey. Not only what happens when somebody clicks my site, but what conversations drive the changes. Where do they search? Where do they walk? Do they click and come again? Where has the mobile phone been? And if you tie all these things together into your control tower, you're a hell of a lot better marketeer and somebody just doing what we did 5 or 10 years ago. And a lot of companies are going for this. We're going to hear Adobe tomorrow. There's others that try to take the control tower perspective. Schibsted and the other media companies is trying to combine data, technology, and the relationships they have. And it becomes a completely new type of control tower. The call for authenticity in communication is also very loud. People want things that are for real. People want the person to mean what they're saying, say what they mean in communication. And I think that maybe we're even seeing the start of the end of corporate bullshit. Anybody likes corporate bullshit? Raise a hand. Still, companies are doing it all the time. And that's so not in tune with the developments we're seeing. Because the talents of the day, and we're going to hear a lot more about talents, they want challenges, they want adventure, they want things to be genuine. And we had Yohio here last year. For the ones that weren't here, he's a 17-year-old cross-dressing, manga girl-looking Swede that looks like a girl, but made it big with this look in Japan. And I said, how can something be so fake as you, be so authentic? He said, well, I really, really do what I'm passionate about. And then I focus on the few people that like me for doing that. And they grow. HR is becoming an extremely interesting area because technology is marrying the art of HR, but also the talents are interacting completely differently. Bina, who's the HR director of Ericsson, she said, it's gone from why should we hire you to why should I work for you? They care about completely different things. They care about purpose, values, why you're doing things, and not just what you're doing. There's an interesting test in Netflix. They sit down and they have meetings where the managers need to list who would they fight for if they said, I'm going to go to another company. Who would they raise the salary for, go home to their house, have a cup of coffee with them, really tell them that there's a future in the company and fight for them. And who are the ones they wouldn't fight for? And then they're urged to fire the ones that they wouldn't fight for and raise the salary for the ones that they would fight for before they have to fight for them. It's an interesting thought experiment. What's the happiest company? Wouldn't you want to work for the company that makes you happiest? Happiest index, new dimension in HR. And this, of course, changes the office of the future. Is this the office of the future? A lot of people are nodding in the audience. Could picture yourself sitting there. And I think it will be for many, but this will also be the office. You will have a context, you will have a purpose, you will do things with each other. You will meet, it will be a meeting place rather than somewhere you need to sit. And there's a very blurring line between time and space, as shown by our holograms. There's also a blurring line between partners and employees. Most of the people that we do SIME with, they're not employed by us. They're partners, and they're just as dear to us as if they would have been employees. The lines are blurring. Because the purpose is more important than what you do and how you do it. And what you do and how you do it is a derivative from why you're doing it. We do SIME because we want to spread knowledge about digital opportunities. I don't know if you know the story, but we tried to buy SIME from the ones that started the SIME back in '95, and then it was down for many years. And they say only on one purpose. If you do 2 SIMEs, 2 years in a row, you pay for everything, you don't own anything, you have rights to nothing, and we come here 2 years in a row and say, we're really proud of you guys. Then you own it. Otherwise, you worked for nothing for 2 years. And we said, okay, let's do it. And that's how we got to have SIME. Purpose is important. Next year, we're doing SIME Next Generation for kids 13 to 17, because we think that we need to inspire our kids earlier to think about digital opportunities. Kiva, one of the most fantastic things online, and Julie Hanna, one of the most fantastic persons offline. She's the chairman of Kiva, and they've given away more than 1 million loans to people that can start small businesses, sourced by people, crowdsourced by people. And the repayment rate is over 99%, which makes it even cooler. It works, and it's a big idea. Pussy Riot, Russian activists and artists, facing very, very dire punishments for doing what they believe in. They have a purpose. One, they wanted to take back the word pussy from men calling men that are cowards pussies to something completely different. They were against Putin, and they were against religion oppressing people in Russia. We're going to meet Mike Lerner tomorrow, who followed them and made a documentary, which is called A Punk Prayer. He's also Oscar nominated for To Hell and Back Again. Storytelling with a purpose. And companies that get this, so if we summarize, embrace the new technologies, get the control tower right, get the right talent in and motivate them the right way, and realize they should mutate and not just add lemon flavor. They can grow completely differently. And that's what we're going to focus quite a lot on today. Because these companies have something, when you sort of talk to them and see them, there's something slightly different with them than for the rest of us. You look at Uber, I think they've grown in 46 cities. If you don't know Uber, you can actually get a private car picking you up with your name and your favorite water and newspaper for the same price as a taxi, because they use all the cars that are not being used. And it grows everywhere. It's not Taxi Stockholm open up in Gotland, it's a bigger idea. If you look at Zalando, it's not the corner shop selling a little bit online to get rid of this excess stock. Somebody told me they're selling for 4 billion euros. I don't know if it's true after less than 5 years of operation. We're going to learn how they work and what they're doing. Bitcoin, a completely new currency being created. So you can trade Bitcoin. And if you did that a year ago, I think you made sort of 100 times the money or something like that. What happens if Facebook with 1 billion users buy Bitcoin? Then it will be bigger than the dollar and the euro put together overnight. What's going to happen with that? A big idea. Criteo, that have been here several times, retargeting technology. They went to the NASDAQ and listed the company. $2 billion for an advertising technology company, the largest European tech IPO, and now everybody says IPOs are back. They're going to share their story. And if you look at Blocket, that for a lot of us still feels like it's the guy next door that made it. I think they're in 46 countries. They're dominating the world of classified and just taking market share after market share. They're the new Vikings coming out of Norway with Schibsted. And if that wasn't enough, Angry Birds, they're now in space. After becoming bigger than Disney in merchandising in China, they're now in space. They convinced the Kennedy Space Center to send out Angry Birds in space so that they can see how they travel in nothingness and have that in their next game. Big dreams. When you're listening to this, if you feel that, yeah, cool talk, Ola, but you know, we're kind of different from Angry Birds in our company, and my CEO is pretty different from the mighty eagle from the Angry Bird company. What can you still bring with you from these days? Well, I think that one thing that you can bring with you is a mindset, because a lot of these companies have a mindset of curiosity, of daring to try, and of being very passionate. And one of them that really represents these things and have been at the forefront of a lot of the cool developments is the first speaker. So I'm very happy to invite our first digital rock star up on stage. Shakil Khan, very welcome.